Hey there, welcome back guys. In this video we're going to be continuing. This is part 3. In part 4 we're going to configure the drone, but we're building our little micro drone here. As you can see, we took it apart again because we're going to have to reconfigure the wiring for the motors. Unfortunately it's just too short and we got to make them longer. I just wish they made these longer, but we'll make it work. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. Remember, part 3, we're just making the wires longer. In part 4, the final part, we're going to see if this thing can actually fly. All right, come, let's get started. All right, here we go. A little bit of a bummer, you know, otherwise we would have been done probably on the third video. You're going to need, if you wear glasses or if there's anything plastic laying around, put them aside. And you need those goggles. Or you might need a soldering iron for this video, unless you have another way of doing it. And as you can see, they're just so short. So what I'm thinking is, see, maybe reuse, cut it, right? See, if I cut it, I'm still gonna have to wire it together. See, that's the only thing. We could pull this out, right? It would come out, and then we could salvage this piece so that everything just goes right in, which actually isn't a bad idea, because the best thing about these wires is that you can splice them easily. I got the wires on the AliExpress website. These are them right here. If there's another way to do it, please do share. This is what I got. This is what I was emailed as source. We're going to put this on the side since we're not using it as of yet. It is the same. Looks like the same length. I mean, the same width, sort of. Yeah, about roughly. As long as it can run the circuit through. And you're going to need a razor, some sort of cutter, so that we can cut the wires. And you want them all to be the same length, to be honest with you, if that makes any sense. And you could always tape it around, right? The hardest part is going to be making it longer, right? If it's too short. So you can't go wrong if you make it longer. I'll move this up a little bit so that you guys can see. And yeah, that looks about right. Have to eyeball it. Yep. And that extra slack goes a long way. That's 2. And what's that? Oh, remnants of old solder, probably from another video. And there's 3. You could always use some sort of marker. And last but least is 4. I wonder if I can make this brighter. Nice. Definitely much better. I've seen some guys do this without binoculars or, you know, magnifying glasses. That's when you know that your vision is good. But I'm just eyeballing it and make sure, whoops, that your razor is tight. As you can see, it somehow came apart. Be careful, watch your fingers. Usually turning it is supposed to make it tighter, but as you can see, that did not work. So there we go. See? Voila. And this is excess. Save it for later. Put it back in the bag because we already have our parts that we already need. And just double check them, make sure that they are roughly within the same length. Yeah, roughly. And the good thing about these wires is that you can pretty much splice them by hand once you cut them. But if I'm going to cut them, I'm definitely going to cut them with a wire cutter. Okay? And then take everything else that's sharp out of the way. This part's a really tedious process. That's, you know, I've seen these little things you put on the flight controller, and it just somehow it connects everything with one click or one soldering. But this is going to be a little bit tricky. So we're gonna reuse that. So what we have to do is Just cut it just right, right? Just right in the middle, right? So we can leave enough room to split. Remember, only one take. This is the part I hate, you know? The part I hate. Yep, there's one. So we'll do one. We'll do one at a time. All right. See, that's it. We already cut it. There's no turning back. And what I like about these wires that they use is that you can splice them by hand. You just pull off a little bit. See? Voila. You'll have to tin them, I recommend. But before we tin them, we're going to have to strip them just a little bit more. Okay, if that makes sense. See, there's one. See, and they don't break. So there's that one. And then, of course, we'll have to do the same thing to these. Now, you want to make sure that when you do these, that they're the correct ones. Like number 3 is number 3, number 2 is number 2. You don't want to put the second wire. That's why we're doing one at a time. You know, just to be on the safe side, if that makes any sense. And you could probably use the cutter, but I'm just going to use this, my fingers. And then you just tear it up a little bit. Remember, just enough to whirl it around, twirl it around. See, you got some off. Kind of neat, huh? We could, why not? Let's see. We're going to do each one differently. Let's see because I don't want to spend too much time soldering one particular piece, if that makes any sense. See that? So now I can twist them together. See that? And then I can tin them. Or if there's another way. Whoops, never even twist it around. Okay, so let's see. You got to make sure that it braids around. There we go. Now if I tin it, so you need something to hold it, right? We could use this. Let's see, to hold it, right? See? And then hold that down like that. And now, hopefully the tricky part is getting it into the position that you want it to get in so it holds without moving. But as you can see, that part is tricky too. So I'm going to plug in the soldering iron, which is right here. I believe once it reaches 600, everything should be good to go. So it's at 159. Looking at maybe 10-15 minutes per each one, to be honest with you, because it's a really tedious process. I sanded this down, so look at that, it's re-tin. Hopefully this will work, because it was a little corroded before. Had some oxidation happening. All right, let's see what we got. 400. This soldering iron, and move other stuff out of the way, because we don't want to, remember, we only get one take with this. So just take everything as you need it, in case sometimes stuff goes flying and dripping and etc. See, and then this one will go there. So we got 6 all together. A little bit of a bummer. So we'll do one. Temperature is correct. 630, 640. Before we get to like 6 or maybe 700. Or close to 700 is ideal for this soldering iron experience. See? Nice. And it's tinned. Nice. So that's one. One down. Yeah, just one down. Many more to go. Okay. So you see, we got one. Could probably put a little bit more on the joint. Really nice. Because remember, we're going to run a heat shrink over it. This is the other tricky part. See, I put that there. I want to make sure I'm not going to be using my mouse, which I'm not sure what the Apple mouse is made out of. Plastic, glass, but I don't know. Just put that here. Soldering iron most likely will fall asleep, and now I got, you see, 3 more to go. So I can take this off. See, look at that. Kind of neat, huh? And when I heat shrink it, it's gonna go probably this way. All right, so now I got another one to do. I got 3 more. Let's see. Well, 2 more on this side, and then the other end is the other part, the connectors. And remember, you want to make sure that they are done correctly. Otherwise, remember, you only get 1 take. I wonder if that will... Yeah, that'll work. See, it's so tricky. Knowing that, I'm moving forward. Just going to splice this one. That, again, that's these wires on these particular motors. I'm not sure what the wires are like on your motors. See, they just come right off. And then make sure it is the second one, of course. These you can twirl around if they are frayed a little bit. Frayed is fine. See? And then we're gonna get, remember that's number 2. And you could always measure from the previous one so that they're the same length, somewhat the same length. See? And then twirl this one around like that. And make sure that that's the 3rd wire. And then it is the 3rd wire. I think I could take a little bit more off. Nice. And then twirl it around. Just so it locks in, and once it locks in, that is when you tin it, melt them together so that they're bound to not come apart. Again, watch your stuff because you need your parts in whole, not pieces, or melted or bonded accidentally together. See, nice. It's tinned. Could always pull one back. Got it. And then just clean off the remnants. 1 more wire. Sort of. And I still got to do the other side. Some say that it doesn't matter which way you put the wires. You can put the 4th on the 3rd on the 2nd, the 2nd on the 1st. I don't know. So I'm just matching them and aligning them up accordingly. See, now I got that one. And then see, when I pull this one down, it'll be like that. But we're going to run a heat shrink over it. So don't worry about that part. We got you covered. See? Kind of neat, huh? Or you could even use tape. You could use electrical tape instead of heat shrink. You know, whatever works, whatever rocks your boat. If you can somehow finagle this to get this to work properly, then it's great. Then you're fine. You know. But it's bound together. Nothing is touching, which is great. But we just have to create the binding experience. So, knowing that, moving forward, we got 1 more to go. This is awesome. Awesome and tedious. Like, it's going to take, you're like, oh my God. I just wish they had made these wires longer. But they didn't. Wonder why, though. Wonder which drone these motors are for. These are 1103. 8500 kV. That's all I know. And I remember someone commenting on the previous video when I had first started this. They had mentioned these were supposed to believe. I think they said something like, I believe they have to be the 110385K, and I didn't even know. And thankfully I got lucky. Like, you know what, they are. Otherwise I would have had to you know, taken a different route with building this. I'm pretty sure other motors would have worked, but it may have created a different experience that may not have been right for you, if you get what I mean. Anyway, see that? We got this one here. And now we're just going to go here, twist it around. A little bit of a bummer. Alright. When I made this is just a piece of clay using to hold. I have another piece I did an unboxing for, but I don't know, I kind of like this jerry rig setup. See? Voila. Now that's there, I can put this the way it's supposed to be on here. And this is the trickier part. Now I can tin it. Well, I don't know how folks can see. I guess folks have good vision. Like, this is so hard to see. Our temperature is at 4 something. I gotta wait for it to get to 600. So that's fine, because in the meantime, I can try and get my positioning the way I want to, so that I could actually solder it together. Sometimes you gotta spin things around, move things around. Nice. Got it. And the trick is to get it without touching any of without touching any of the parts, like the wiring, the plastic, you know, whatever it is around there. So, but see, that's why I use these goggles. But we're still not out of the ballpark yet, because I still have to heat shrink this or tape it, whichever works. I think I'm gonna try, I don't know, what do you think, heat shrink or tape? I do have the heat shrink. Let's see how the heat shrink, if I do the heat shrink, I'm gonna have to spread them open like this. Watch. And carefully, without actually tearing the wires, because I don't wanna, see? There is one. And then the other one, because remember, it's so frail and delicate that if I pull it wrong, I can actually strip it. And we don't want to strip it. We just want to, see, split them. And then in case you're wondering, these are pre-cut. I'll leave a link to these in the description, the little heat shrink thingies. Hopefully it will fit through. It looks like it'll fit through. So I got here. And now we're just gonna, probably, I don't need it to be that big. I'm just gonna cut them to size, like a reasonable size, like nothing crazy. And then probably, I might need just one. I mean, one for each motor, right? Let's see, one. Because I can, if I'm cutting them up into pieces, as long as this one is correct. 2, whoops. And then, yeah, probably cut the other one in half. And then we have 3, 4. And then I'll probably hold it, cover it, so it doesn't go flying. See? Hopefully that's the right length. If not, plenty more where that came from. They give you a whole bunch in the kit. See, and now what we're going to do is we're going to slide that on like that. And then go here. and then push it in. And once we push it in, it should, delicately though, of course. See? Voila. But we may have to, hopefully not, but, oh no, it worked. Nice. Sweet. See? And that's the beauty of doing it correctly. Look at that. But I still have a few more to go. But I'm thinking of just putting them on and let them shrink individually or together instead of doing one at a time. Just put it on. See? And just the right length. And now. And we have to match them when it comes to the way the wire came off, is how we put them back on. The connectors, if that makes any sense. Well, I'll show you what I'm talking about so that you too will do the same thing and not make a mistake. If you do, just flip it over. This part's tricky. Yep. Got it in. So you want it to go all the way down. So that when it shrinks, see? Voila. And one more. Which is, I guess it doesn't matter which piece, even though I cut 4, we'll use the ones to size. See that? How long did that take? Wow, 20 minutes each. And even 30 minutes, right? It's going to be a long video. A little bit of a bummer. But that's as long as it takes, right? And then you'll know how much time you have to put aside. It's actually a Friday, and I have off today. So I should be riding my bicycle on my day off. But instead, it's all right. I don't mind doing this. See? And now, voila. Now, when I say put them back on, you want to take another motor, right? Put it in the same position, right? And just know that the prong thingies on the inside, the middle part is facing up. You don't want to do it the wrong way. So that means that this has to go like this, okay? With the middle part, middle little prong thingies facing up so that we don't mess it up. And of course, we'll probably have to do the same thing again on these wires. So you'll want to get the heat shrink on beforehand, if that makes any sense. All right, so knowing that, moving forward, I'm just gonna have to apply a little bit of heat from this thing right here. You've seen it. It's like, if you've been following me since the beginning, this was my first soldering iron, but everything was melting, more like a blowtorch, if you ask me. So we just literally like melted everything. I'll do that. Put this like that. See? Literally, I would not recommend this, but it works well as a heat gun, and it has a little stand. I don't recommend putting it down, but I trust it a little bit, not a lot, like to the point where it freaks me out. So we'll put this here. See that? So we don't actually, you know what? We could probably put that there, so that we could not have it touch anything. And then now, remember, heat rises, so you want to get it under there. See? And it's shrinking everything. It's like a shrinky dink. You could try this way too, but remember the heat's gonna dissipate the other way, but it's working. See that? Heat's shrinking. It's like a shrinky dink. And then we go there. And just enough, you know, to melt those wires. Now I could shut it off. When you shut it off, keep it far away. I like to keep this behind me down there. And if there's an emergency and you got to get up, just remember that's there. Otherwise, you're going to step on it and either burn your shoes or your feet. All right, see, look, we got it. Kind of neat, huh? But now we have this part to do. Okay. You could do 1 a day, 2 a day, as many as you need. There's no, it's not a race. But just know that this has to be the same way. So I guess, I presume, I don't know if it doesn't matter which way it goes, but I know that it has to go in the hole. So I'm just gonna, do it the same way. See that? Like that. But unfortunately, we got to strip these. But before we strip those, we're going to want to cut some heat shrink right here. I think this is the same size that we were using. And then could be a little longer, a little shorter. Let's just measure it along here. Nope, it's the same size. It just looks smaller because if you look at it with the naked eye, it looks smaller, but it's not. So in this case, I'm just going to cut one here. Remember, there's no rush. It took me, what's taking about 30 minutes just to do one, right? Which means if you do the math, it's going to take about over an hour, right? Over 2 hours just to do two. But you want to do it right. And if all you have is 30 minutes, then that's it. That's all you got to work with. And then you just come back another day. I was thinking of piecemealing this and doing it on a live show. But you see my live stream, it's like sometimes at work, we lost a camera on the live stream, meaning like just disconnected. And some folks were like, yo, bro, he doesn't know he just lost the video. I was like, damn it. I was like, fuck, you can't win with these like software. And it wasn't planned. It just happened that way. So, I wish I could, my plan was to actually do this via live stream, but it didn't work out. Anyway, knowing that moving forward, remember again, look at the motor just in case, because remember, you only get one take, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to put these things right here, right? Let's see if we can see. Yeah, we can. Take the heat shrinks that you cut and put them on first, okay? Because you're going to have to slide them up moving forward. So there's one, right? There's two. And just cut them all the same size. I'm going to cut as needed because I know you never know how perfect or imperfect the next cut's going to be with the next motor. But hopefully, it's the same. And remember, take your time. If you don't have the time to do this, make the time. Don't do it under the gun. Don't rush doing this because you only get one take. And again, like I said, if all you get is 30 minutes, then 30 minutes is all you got, And if all you got is 15 minutes, then 15 minutes is all you got. And you work with it. Just work with your time. Wonder if any of you guys know of any kits, like if you like, there's more than one way to skin a cat. If you have another way to do this, please do share, because I would love that solution, because this way is just ridiculous. I don't know why they made these motors so short. Even the motors on the other drone over there are long enough. I mean, some of you might be thinking, then just take those. I could do that in another video, but this video, we're actually teaching you how to build it, right? This is the build of the build. So yeah, the other ones are just really long, and in case you're wondering, I can show you. Like so long that they taped them on and folded them, and you can see from here, it goes all the way down and all the way down there, and they bent them, like they curved the wires, like so cool. And they're long, they're like freaking, like, I don't know, I just wish it wasn't like that. I wish it was just longer. That's okay, we're doing it, right? We're making it work. And knowing that, and moving forward, we're just going to splice this one, and it's pretty hard to see. See? There's one. And then you can use the other one as a guide, so that they're all the same length when you splice them. And again, this is because the wires on here are so, the plastic around it is so easy to work with. See that? And then just line them up and then just pull it. See? That one I took a little bit too much off, but that's okay. Sometimes longer is better. Okay, remember this is the part where we only get one take because we're putting it together the way that we're following the path of the other wires. Bummer. A little bit too long, but we can cut them. Too long is better than too short. Because remember, we can work with it. Right? Because we can always snip it. And just do one at a time. You could do all at a time, but I'd rather do one at a time, especially when we're twisting wires. Again, we got to wait for the soldering iron to wake up. I don't think we need this anymore. So you can remember to keep moving stuff out of the way. I got a small space to work with. Some of you might think it's big. I just got so much crap on here. Of course, there's a part missing, but it's fine. We'll find everything later. I think it's over there. See, soldering iron fell asleep. Sometimes I believe you press a button, right? See, now it's waking up. I just pressed the plus. This is an okay soldering iron. It's good, but if you saw my last video, I was doing something with it. Oh, when I was doing the flight controller, I had to bust out plan B because for some reason, maybe 2 hours was the limit. You know, after 2 hours, it just reached its peak performance, which really sucked because I wasn't planning on that. And I was also actually going to give that one away in a giveaway. And I'm glad I didn't because, as you saw, I needed it. And I was like, oh, this is the best soldering iron ever. No, it glitches out after like 2 hours, which is a little bit of a bummer, but that's all right. See now, it has to reach 698, 99 around there. And then all you have to do is tap it. Wow, nice. Look at that. See that? It's tinned. Nice. And then we'll just clean off the remnants. And then we got, That's why I was saying you could do them all at once, right? But I just need for everything to be connected. We could do them all at once when we heat shrink them. And the good thing is that this plastic bends. It's bendable. All right, so now we're just going to do the other one. Yeah, why not? Let's see if we can do them all at once, right? It's experimental. What's the worst that could happen? I don't know. Well, the worst that could happen is we blow it up, but we know it works, so it's not going to blow up. Like, we used a smoke stopper in the previous video, which let us know that our connections are good. There are no shorts on the motor connectors, which is great. So we were able to move forward with that and then apply full power, right? If that makes any sense. But like always, we don't know. We'll have to do that experiment again, right? In the fourth part. This one's a little bit too long. And you can snip it as long as you know that it's going to get tinned, like just like jointly soldered together. And then now, a little tricky. See, I'm touching it and nothing's happening because it's still sleeping. It's waking up. Right about now is when it should work. Nice. Bingo. And then we just do like this a little bit. Got to get a new one of these though. Moves around too much. It's not the right size thingy that's in here. Belongs in another container. Or I can just find the container. And one more. Look at that. See? Kind of neat. Oh no. See, I messed it up. Damn it. I crossed them over. It's okay. I did the one thing we weren't supposed to do. It's fixable though. Damn it. See, that's why you want to make sure that you pull the wires correctly. Someone said it doesn't matter. Does it? Really? I don't know. Da, 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 da. And I could just cut it, right? And then, but then it'll be too short. See, and this is why you could never be too long or too short. I think we can leave it. Not sure. What do you think? Yeah, why not? Let's leave it and see what happens. Then we can fix it later. Actually, you know what? Nah, I don't want to do that. I think I can take it out though. Take one of these things out and then rewire it. Bummer. Damn it. It's okay, it's fixable. See if I can pull it. Yep. Pull it apart. See that? And we have one tin wire. Because you got to apply the heat to melt the solder off. But gently. Just gently. Alright, so now we're doing the middle one. I'm like, oh my god. But I really do believe I saw someone say that it doesn't matter which way the wires go. Supposedly. I don't know. But you know what? We could save that for another video. We'll take this apart purposely and then I need both hands. Can't have a soldering iron on my hand while doing these wires. Yeah, we'll definitely try that. Okay, middle. Okay, just doing a wire check. Again, this is why I purposely left extra slack. And you want to make sure that your heat shrink is on there, because remember you're going to use that to bind the wires together. See that? And then I'm going to pull it up when the time is right, if that makes any sense. And so this, now I can twist it. And if you mess it up, I'm not sure how many takes you'll get. Like, so that's why, again, longer is actually better. Just be prepared, right? I think it's almost time for a new tip. Even though I sanded it, it's working fair. Move this around. Apply some solder. And if it doesn't melt, it means that it's just not there yet. Nice, I like that. I like when the solder like just gets absorbed by the wire. Like the wire just sucks it up. And you can clean it. Okay, that was the middle. That was the correct one. And that's why you also use a smoke stopper too, because you need to make sure that if you bridge something, accidentally, accidents happen. See, I may have had an accident, but I'm able to fix it. That if you bridge it, right, that you're able to fix it, or it doesn't short out, right? Because that's another thing. And that's why we want to make sure that these wires don't touch. That's why we're using the heat shrink, right? And again, if you guys have a better way of doing this, please do share it, because I would love to redo this video with some other solutions / connectors without trying to jerry rig it. I mean, which is what we're doing, but there must be a better way to rig it, you know, if that makes any sense. See? And there we go. One wire to go. Total of 6 connections made. And then the heat shrinking part, as you saw, really easy. And sometimes you need this so you can see where exactly the soldering connectors are going. And what you do is you just let the solder get absorbed, right, by the wire, like it sucks it up. It's kind of weird, but interesting at the same time. And it just somehow binds it together, so you don't have to worry. Kind of neat, huh? So now we're done with one motor. One down. 3 more to go. The heat shrinking part, remember, is really easy, because then what we do is we make sure, again, check your wires, make sure 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, and 4 is 4. If you have 4. Are there any 4? Are there any with 4? I don't know. See? Voila. And make sure when you pull it, it pulls in to the heat shrink. And don't accidentally strip these, because then you're pretty much screwed. See? This is really neat. And these you can do all 3 at the same time. And if you feel like it's too long, remember, too long is better than too short, okay? Because you can always go short, but if you're too short, you'll never be able to go long. Go big or go home. See that? We could always remake these too. We remade these in one of our other videos. We actually made these connector thingies. So there's a video on how to do that. So if you go too short, but just know with the motors, that's a different story. That you know, I only know how to make the wire connector, if that makes any sense. This one might need tape, because it looks like some heat was applied and I accidentally touched it. So I'm not going to be able to, might be able to finagle it. See, I got here a little bit of a bummer. But if you take your scalpel, if you take this thing, right, and then somehow splice it from the middle, watch your fingers, okay, and then you can slide it up. It's really tricky, but doable. Or even, not even slide it up. Cut it, right? Cut it so that you can slide it up if it's not sliding up. If that makes any sense. Remember, have the blade face you. if you're going to do what I'm doing right now. And carefully cut the wire so that, and this is why, like I was saying, you could never be too long. Now, if this was too short, I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now. See? And now, the part that's bigger will slide up. If that makes any sense. And if you don't get it in, that's when you'll tape it. See, I got it. And because I was able to go, I made it a little bit bigger. And now I could heat shrink it. So that's why you have to be careful with the heat from this thingy, the blowtorch. It's supposed to be like a heat shrink experience, but it's not. Like, it works like a blowtorch. And that's it. Hold on one second. Now I need this thing to move this in like this so that you guys can see. Now it doesn't matter how I apply the heat because they're all in the same direction. They're all, you know, need, oh well, the good thing I shut that off. This part's tricky. See? That goes on. Move that out of the way. You can put it on high or low. It's going to get hot anyway. Now, you just want to watch and make sure you don't melt the connectors. Double check that. Make sure this is in the right position. Hold it under. You'll know if it's too hot if you can feel it with your hands. See that? Nice. And I feel it, but you don't want it to touch your hands. But you also don't want to touch the plastic connector thingies, because that, we could rebuild it, but we don't want to. Nice. And then we can go up a little bit. Sweet. Voila. And then we can shut this off. Remember, keep clear from this, like when you need to see something. Make sure it's far away. Wires are hot. Nice. Nothing is melting or touching. That's the part we want to be careful for, because you want to keep it away from this part right here. And you could cover them if you have a little blowtorch thingy like this. And we'll probably do that with one of the other ones, just to make sure. Right. As for where the motor goes, it doesn't matter. We can check and see. And if it goes in, let it cool off a little bit. Right. And then that would be, just want to make sure. See? Fits right in. Voila. But we're not going to put it in just yet. We want to make sure that we get the rest of them. And if you don't, like if you mess it up like I just did and you can't fix it, I don't know, you have to figure out a way to jerry-rig it, you know? That's all. Like I just did, you know, to bring it in, bring it up. You could use it, like I'll show you a little piece of tape. Yeah, I forget what it's called, this little, they use it for flight controllers. It's Maxwell. I'll leave a link to this in the description. But then you just have to be really good with your eyes and cut a piece, right? Thankfully, I don't need to on this one, but I'll show you. Cut a piece. Use a little board. Remember, small piece. Just enough to wrap around, if that makes any sense. And then somehow finagle it so that it can go around and down. See? It's tricky, but as you can see, it's doable. Voila. And we could always remake these connectors. Like, let's say you accidentally touch this with the blowtorch. I actually made, there's a video I have. I'll leave a link to that in the description, where we made this thing right here. See that? For the flight controller. But you could also make one for the motors too. But in this case, we're not. We're reusing it. We're using the part that we actually spliced. See, and we got one motor down. Gosh, how long did that take? Felt like forever. I don't even want to look. But as you can see, it's doable. And now it'll work better because it's actually longer. We got the length that we need so that we can connect the motors, right, to the whatever it is that it needs to go. A little bit of a bummer that you know, it just doesn't work that way. So when we put this on, you know, the flight controller, it actually works. All right, one down. Gosh, a few more to go. Remember, you cannot go wrong if you have this longer, right? Longer is better, and why? Because as you can see, we messed up, and we were able to fix it. Make this shorter, and unless you're really good, if you're good at this, then you know, some of you may be like, "What the fuck's that guy doing?" I don't know what he's doing, you know, but I like to leave the extra space, you know, because it's workable. All right, so now the same thing with this one. Gosh, so you know, we'll just do this, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. I have a whole kit here. Never thought I'd need so many, but you don't. So one per motor. So you have 1, 2, 3. I'm using the brown. Down with the brown. But who knows? Maybe for you, you might be using a different color, right? Because not every part is the same. I know usually when you get one done, the next one's faster. You know, one and done, one and done. Like for this, I think you know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm just gonna splice the wires, you know, because they gotta come apart anyway, right? So just do like that, one. And then we go, well, look how it shrunk though, after I tore it. It's fine though. 1, you know, we could go longer maybe even. And then we go 2. See, and that's it. So we got 3 all together. As for this, we'll cut these once we know what size we're going to be using. That will go, and then we have here. Wow, so this is what the guys go through who actually build drones. Wait, isn't that what I'm doing? Like, it's a really tedious process. Like, to think if you lose a motor, right? And then like, oh, I gotta fix the motor. Sometimes it's not very cut and dry. If you have like that one, the one I showed you previously, where the motors were longer, motor wires were longer, which was awesome. I'm like, yeah, you're good to go. You're like, oh my god, you know, your downtime from your crash is to a minimum. Whereas, you know, here, my downtime per motor is at least minimum 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, because the second one, you know, as you get, you know, you get better at it. As you can see, look, I'm kind of winging it a little bit better than I was before. I'm like, oh, I got this. I know what to do now. Whereas the first one, that was the first one, right? See? And it just takes practice. You know, I would love to be able to fly this thing inside the house, you know. And again, as you saw, I think it's probably better to tint the soldering, to tint the tips maybe, I don't know, maybe now, right? One at a time. Because you saw when I put the heat shrink on, how it melted, and I had to refinagle it. So here we go. Soldering iron, of course, is asleep at 5 something, and then, you know, once it's at 698, as you saw, this soldering iron burns. Every soldering iron is different. See, nothing. Got some, but just hold it at the tip. Really nice how it's able to work its magic just by tapping it. Kind of neat, huh? All right. Gosh, 2 motors. I think it's going to get faster as we get to the next one. Make sure the wires don't touch. I would hate to twist them. Again, let me know if it doesn't matter which way the wires go. That would be cool to know. Watch your stuff. Don't want it touching the soldering iron. So there we go. Now we're just gonna do this one. I love that you can just do this with your fingers, because I think if I had to use a wire cutter, I would not be successful with this. I don't know. What about you guys? Is there a special wire cutter for these like super thin, delicate wires that you can sort of strip with your fingers? Leave it in the comments what wire cutters you guys are using, or wire strippers you guys are using when dealing with these delicate, or you just use your fingers. Just let me know. That'd be cool, because we'll do a video on that too. Okay, one more tin. Yeah, this way's easier. Nice. Got that one. So sanding down your soldering iron tip does give it a little bit of a second life, but it's not, you know, I think once it's done, it's done. I don't know, what do you guys think? Share with me in the comments, in the description down below. Maybe I'll go live. I don't know, it's tricky, right? Like if I go live, let me see how this one's doing. I don't know, maybe I'll go live. It's the only downside. Like if I go live, we lose a camera, but it's recording, so that, oh no, I would have to set it to webcam. Yeah, doesn't matter. Can't go live now. Na, na, na. I wonder if you're allowed to sing on your live stream without getting a copyright strike. But I wouldn't take that chance. I would probably delete the video. I've gotten copyright, but I only use songs that I'm allowed to. Have a video coming out about that. The only downside to YouTube is that it's hard to get a hold of a person, because everything is done via AI, literally. And when you run into a problem, then you gotta wait in line to get a person. Just making sure, which is a little bit of a bummer. Let's see, we can move this in a little bit so that you guys can see. So I let the soldering iron suck it up. Not soldering iron, the wire. You just hold it at the tip, sort of like you're tinning it. And there's like a little bubble there. I do think that this tip has had its days. Its days are like numbered. You can tell by the way the solder is like corroding on here, but that's all right. Nice, sweet. All right, so we got that tinned away. Yeah, a little bit of a bummer. Unless fair, cleaned off really well like that. I think I'm gonna try getting a new one of these first because it's cheaper, and then testing it out the other way. All right, so we got that out of the way. That's squared out. Remember, you can never go too long, as you saw. So I'm just gonna guesstimate it, maybe like that. Whoops, there's one. They look longer when I look at them under this thing, which is kind of wild. Yep, that's about right. Remember, I'm just guessing the length, but holding it over. Nice. See how much faster it is the second time around? That's how it always is with the drones. But you're still looking at that downtime in your flight time if this is how your motors are being put together. I've seen some little clip-on boards. I forget what they're called. I think they're like the Bradwell specials, but I don't think they have them for this experience, what I'm doing. If they do, let me know, because I was looking. I spent hours. Couldn't find it. I bet you FPV Unknown might know. Because I would definitely redo this video. Well, this part of the video of replacing a motor with those new connectors. See, this is the part where yep, got it. Da, 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 da. There's one. Where did they go? And then we got 2 and 3. 2 more. Wow, I love the fact that it's happening faster, you know? We're doing it fast. And I would totally recommend doing this part, the heat shrink, after they're all on. This way, as you saw, you get it right. Hopefully the soldering iron lasts, though. It's a bummer that when I was soldering the flight controller board, but it does need a new tip. Like if I was going to do another flight controller, I have another tip ready to go. And now, move that here so that you guys can see. And if we can still see, I always want to check, make sure the show's still on. Yeah, I think this part, we're going to do the soldering of the motors. And then in the next part, we're going to build it back together. Could be a 5-part series if you ask me, at the rate we're going, you know. And you do not want your wires to touch or be exposed in any way, because one, it could lead to interference, and 2, aside from interference, it could also lead to a short, like explode, like it happened in one of our earlier videos. This video is not going to be edited. This is for those that want to see how it's done. Okay, if that makes any sense, because I too want to see how it's done. So I'm pretty sure there's someone out there too. All right, it's on. rotate this part. If you're lefty or righty, just make sure it's in your right hand. Oh wow, interesting. How much lighter fluid is in there? See, it's like a blowtorch. This is why when I first got this, I used it to fix one of my kids' toys, and they had a transistor. They had a radio that we built, and it just came apart, and they wanted to use it for their science fair. Can you imagine having a soldering iron like this? Like, yeah, we're gonna solder it, guys. Yeah, we fried it. We didn't fry it, but we melted a lot of parts because it was one of these things that you saw in the Sky Mall. Like one of those has seen on, get your soldering iron and heat shrink gun all in one. You too can have it for just $9.99. Right? Has seen on TV. It always works well on TV, but no, not in the real world. But the heat shrink part does. I love this part. I'll leave a link to this one in the description. I just have to find it. Oh look, you can shut it off and then use the remnants of the heat. And that's it for that part. 2 more to go. But remember, we still got to do the, keep the soldering iron far away because it's so hot that if it accidentally fell, at least the soldering iron, this one falls asleep. And sometimes it doesn't wake up. So, as you saw in the previous video. All right, so now we want to make sure we get this part right. Because as you saw, we messed up on the first one. But we were able to fix it. And I showed you how to do it in case you wanted to do it, you know, use tape instead of the heat shrink. Some sort of special tape. Okay, so knowing that, moving forward, the metal prongs part go up. Excuse me. Okay, this part. So again, I got to cut 2 more wires. All right. And put these on first, remember, right? So then we have 1. Just cut 1 and then you can measure the rest. Remember, you can never be wrong if you go too long. That kind of rhymes, right? And you saw why, because we're able to fix it. Right? Too short? Nope. We're basically not. Unless some guys are good though. Like I've seen some videos where some guys just, they would have been done already. Wait, so look. Remember these things, we're putting these on, okay? So these go on first before we strip them. And then this goes on. So we put all 3 on. See that? And then the last one. Okay. Now this one I'm thinking, when you heat shrink it, maybe cover it with tape, right? So you don't accidentally, especially if you have a blowtorch like mine. So you can cover it, but not yet. When we get to the part where we're going to be using the soldering iron / blowtorch. All right. So now we're going to start with the first wire. I'm thinking, yeah, this is the tricky part. So then don't go too short on this. Just go the right length. All right. So we're doing this part. Remember how it goes. And then we'll snip this. I love that you can do these by hand, like use your fingers if you have any fingertips, fingernails, fingertips. But just do one at a time with the see? Now double check so you don't make the same mistake I did. And it looks good. Okay. You could always cover it, like, right, so that you know that you're not going to accidentally melt it. I just need to find the end and then just cut a piece. Except this tape is really Not so hard to get off, I say. A little hard, but beats rebuilding the whole thing, right? So what you would do is, you don't have to. Remember, I'm just doing this out of precaution. Just cover it, right? Just cover that so you don't accidentally burn anything. Or melt, right? In this case, it would be melt. See? Voila. Now I can work with it. Now I can just tin the tip. Remember, we're not heat shrinking anything yet, but we're just applying heat. And remember, your soldering iron has to come out of sleep mode before you actually apply the heat. Wow, that one came out really nice. It just melted on. Kind of neat. You could always snip that, make it shorter if you don't like the length of it. But the goal is to like fuse them together with the, and of course put this on the side because I don't want to redo that. And then see, voila. So we got one done, one end, right? And then we have, you could always undo this, take this thing off like that. See? And just to check the wires to make sure everything's okay. See, voila. We got one end done. And you do this again, you know, blanket it and unblanket it. And as you can see, voila. But again, the heat shrinks get done together, okay? Because you saw what happened if you do one at a time. Sometimes the heat travels and one will fuse too soon, and then you have to finagle it to get it into the right, you know. Okay, so this is the middle one that I'm doing next. Remember, double check. Don't do like I did. Like, oh yeah, it's the middle one. And then you find out that no, it's not the middle one. It's the end. End in the middle, middle in the end. Again, someone said that doesn't matter. If it doesn't, let me know. But you know what? Even if no one tells us, we'll try it and see. Hopefully we don't blow up a flight controller doing that experiment. But it'd be nice to know. See, we got it. Again, if you don't trust yourself, cover it. But we are going to cover it when we use the heat shrink. See, let the temperature go to what it needs to go. Move it in a little closer so that you guys can see. And then you just let the just let the solder, like, it's hard to explain, but it sort of like melts on together and fuses. The only issue I'm having is this thing right here. I think I need a new one. See, yeah, it works better when it's like fused, when there's pressure. All right, one more. One and done. I just need a new stand for this thing though. It'd be nice if I get a new one, maybe one day. One more wire. Double check. Can't stress. Because people make mistakes. It's normal, you know? It's normal. Nice. Got that one. And again, I'll leave a link in the description how to make these things in case you want to know how to make the connector. All right, last one, sort of. Yeah, it's probably going to take a while to do this, put this together. Okay, so now we're just going to fuse the wires together, like sort of like create like a little bridge thingy. Nice. Oh my God. I like how it just absorbs. The soldering iron just melts the solder, but the wire just sort of like absorbs it like the amoeba virus. Kind of neat. All right, that's it for that. 2 more. We're almost there. Hopefully. This is done correctly. See? So we're going to bring 1 in. See, there's 1. String that in, pull it up, and in. Not too hard. You don't want to put muscle into it because you could accidentally break the wires. But you'll know because you're building it, right? We can somehow finagle that in here. You just got to get it in so it can go halfway. And just know, as you know, you can pull it, because the reason why you can pull it without it pulling apart is because we tinned them together. Kind of neat, huh? 1 more. I think the most challenging one was probably doing the Avado one, the motor upgrade. Because that's similar to this experience. You only get 1 take. And I see some videos where it's messed up, but it happens. Some guys have to order a new flight controller for the Avado one because it just messed up. It didn't work out. You see, I'm just putting tape over this part so it doesn't melt accidentally. Because remember, accidents happen. Look, I made an accident already. Right? In the previously on motor skills. All right, so now again, keep that down there far away. If you have carpets on the floor, you could always get a cooking sheet so that you don't accidentally tilt it over on the floor. Cooking sheet works well. Baking pan, tin foil. Tin foil, I don't know. I don't trust too much. Definitely a cooking sheet. Or pot, a little pan. Whatever works, as long as you can maintain the safety in your soldering experience so that it works just right for you. All right, so now here we go again. This is the fun part. Just applying that heat. Oops. Make sure you don't apply it to the tape because it will fuse. But that's okay. We have our little cutter, a little blade. Nice, and we got it. A little bit of exposure on one part, but that's okay. We can always apply a little bit of tape to it. Just the heat. Shut that off. Keep it far away. I don't need to melt. It doesn't even have to be close. You notice that, right? Like it literally can be far away. Nice, look at that. Kind of neat. Now we can open it. And if you're lucky, you could reuse the tape. If not, get a new one. See? It looks like we could reuse it. And the tape does feel warm. And that's it. Check it out. Kind of neat, huh? There is some metal exposure there, solder exposure. But I think that's okay. But if you're not crazy about it, you can cut a little piece of tape, and then just do it like that. So now we got 2 motors. Kind of neat. 2 more to go. Ay, you're killing me. I wonder what flight control these things would go on, though. They're so small. All right, knowing that, moving forward. Do we have our 3rd wire? This is our 3rd one. Did I only cut 3? I don't know, I can't remember. Oh, I cut 4. The other one's hidden. So just double check your stuff. As you can see, we have here. It's kind of exhausting if you ask me, this whole process, but we gotta do it. Never give up, never surrender. So I think, remember, going longer, you can never go wrong. because as you saw, if you go too short, what happens? E1, you can't finagle it if it's too short, or 2, if it's too short, sometimes you have a little tint of solder exposed, but that's okay in this sense because I don't see it. I would be more worried if it was over there, but look, see, we got it there on this part, because that's going to be under the flight controller. All right, here we go again. Oh, you're killing me. One more to go. Yeah, this is going to be a 5-part series, or this is part 3, right? So this is going to be a 4-part series. 1, because in the next video we'll configure it and put it together. Okay. And there we are. There's that. Now for the fun part. I hate this part because remember, you only get one take. You can always clear things out of the way so that, you know, for your visuals, some people work better that way. And this is it. This is the part I actually hate. Did I do that right? I'm like, no, it's done wrong. No, it's done right. It's all good. All right. I just hope that it's long enough too. All right. Knowing that and moving forward, we're just gonna lay it flat. Nice. Just making sure I have enough battery left. Oh, and enough. Oh, wow. 64%. I have to speed this up. Let's see, that's the only thing when using an action camera. Like, it's supposed to be charging. But nope. I don't know. One day I'll get a better camera. Okay, camera. No, I don't have to work under the gun. That one's full. This one is charging, but it's at 64%, which is a little weird. It should have been at 100%. This is great. A lot of times these drones are short-lived too, you know? People fly them, they crash them. Not as short-lived. If you crash them on a golf course, that's probably easier to find. But if you crash them in the woods or into a river, all the hours put into the build are gone forever. But the good thing is that you have the memories, right, in the goggles, which can be restored, but then you have all the OSD data on there. But yeah, think about it. Yep, that makes any sense. I think I'm gonna make the middle one a little bit longer. There. Remember, you can never be too long, but you can always be too short with this stuff, with the wiring, not with anything else. And voila. I think this one's getting knocked out a little bit faster. A little bit, not a lot. I can put this on here. This is the tricky part. To tin the wires. We tin them together. Check the temperature, 570. Remember, for this one, I have to keep it at 6 something. I wish I told you on the solder, which, like, how to set the temperature. This solder requires to be temperature at 690, right? Or 640 or 5 something. That would be cool if it had that, but no, none of mine do. If you have any that do, share, because I would definitely give it away, give this away. in exchange for soldering solder that actually, they would call it smart solder, right? That came with instructions. Okay, 2 more. You're killing me. Wow, this is backbreaking though. Mental and physical at the same time, if that makes any sense. But fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun because I can't wait to see if it actually works, right? That's the other part. Can you imagine that? Doing all this, building your drone, soldering the flight controller, just to have it blow up in 5 seconds. It's kind of like when you clean the house if you have kids. Take like 8 hours or 15 hours in some houses. Sometimes this one takes forever too. Just as much time between the lawn and everything. And then the kids come and they show up. And 5 minutes. I was like, wait, I just spent the last 24 hours cleaning. How the hell did it look like? It's like a tornado, literally, when the kids show up. Instantaneous disaster. You like all my hard work? Kind of like the folks at SpaceX, right? When they when some of them just blew up. One more motor. We are almost done. Oh, I love it. Yeah, we'll definitely make this a 4-part. Temperature is almost there. So you know if I touch it and nothing's happening, it's either the tip or well, you know, it's either the tip or the temperature. In this case, it's the temperature. Kinda neat. 1 more to go. Don't think I need this anymore. Try to, whoops, poke myself, but try to not poke yourself, but just try to move as much stuff out of the way as possible because it can get tricky as you solder and parts get in the way, especially when you're dealing with plastic and wires and things that melt. Last one, almost last one. Well, not really, because we still have to the connectors. Damn, this part takes forever. And sometimes you just guess. Like you can say, oh, maybe a little bit more. Oh, maybe a little bit less. Start small with the stripping and then go big. Because you don't want to mess it up. Because you only get 1 take on this particular thing. Da, 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 da. There we go. What are you guys flying? What are you guys building? Are you building the Mobula 8 too? Micro or mini? It's almost about the same size as the Pavo Pico, to be honest with you. Like, it's not, when you think about it. We're almost there. Almost. 1 more motor. Well, we still have the connectors, remember. Sweet. I love when you tin it and it just like melts. It looks like the way it absorbs is like the Matrix when Neo touched something. I think it was the mirror, and it just like went on his arm. That's when you know you're soldering. Experience when it melts is good. It's just like satisfying watching it absorb or go into the wire. Just absorbs it. If you've soldered a lot, you'll most of you guys will know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to this, you'll see it like how it just absorbs it. All right, so now we got that part. And again, now we're going to put these things on. We only need 3. nightmare. Yeah. This one will probably come up probably the 3rd week of November, this video. We do a lot of soldering in the winter. You know, we build games. We'll probably build the game again. We build practice kits, anything and everything. Because remember, you only get one take. And it took me some time. It's not like you just wake up. Well, maybe some people wake up in the morning and they're like, soldering pro. Some folks, but you know, not some others just need practice. But I totally recommend practicing on the kits and on the board, the practice solder board. I'll put together another video on that. I usually do that on my live. Maybe I'll just label it. And then one more. See that? Dun, dun. And then we bring out the blowtorch. My first soldering iron melted all the components on the transistor radio. You too can have a soldering iron. I'm glad, like I said before, I didn't give the other one away, because it would have been a disaster. I wouldn't have had a plan B. I'm surprised this one's still lasting, which is pretty cool. All right, one more motor. And that's it. And for sure, after this video, I'm going to have to take the videos that are here and put them onto a flash drive, and then make more space on the other. I hear it, but I don't see it. See? Wow. Now I can turn it down. Look at that. That's a soldering iron. Hell no. It's a freaking blowtorch, if you ask me. I think I shut it off accidentally. Sometimes the heat alone is enough to get the torch going again, and other times it need that flint experience. You don't know when, but there have been times when I just applied heat and it worked. And there are other times where heat didn't work and needed that. Nice. I love it. I like how it melts like a shrinky-dink type experience. See that? Now I can shut this off. Remember, can't stress if you got one of these type of thingies. Keep it as far away from everything as possible. Know where it is in case you got to run up, catch the phone, or get your kids, etc. Okay, look at that. We did it, almost. So, just to make them longer, right? Just so that they can fit on the flight controller and stretch out like Plastic Man. All right, knowing that, remember, double check these things. I'm putting them on the same way they came off, if that makes any sense. And in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you scrub through the video, see, the metal prong thingies are up and this part is down. Okay, just match it. But if it doesn't matter, like I said, please do share. And so now we're stripping that, and then now we're stripping that, and then now we're stripping that, and that should be good enough. It's amazing. I think there's a China ban, right? Sanctions on the country when it comes to importing stuff from DJI, but I think it also applies to goods from China. Because there are a couple of companies that reached out to me that were supposed to send me stuff, and I never got it. You know, it could be held at customs, or maybe they sent it back. I don't know. All I know is that sometimes I'll be reached out, and some companies will reach out and say, "Hi, we want you to do a video on our floor mats for the Tesla," and I'd be like, "I don't have a Tesla," or hey, we want you to do a collab with you on, and you can make a video for these batteries we got for the DJI 3S. And then I'm like, well, I don't have the 3S. And then I'm like, oh, sorry. So that I understand, you know, when they reach out and want to do a collab when I don't have the product they want to do a collab for. But sometimes they ask to do a collab like the 3D printer or some other stuff, the batteries, right, which we had a giveaway for. But now they're asking to do collabs on things I can do, and the stuff isn't making it through customs, which kind of sucks. So aside from being the poster child for all the Chinese goods, looks like it's not going to work out because of the sanctions and ban that the U.S. has put on China because of I don't know. Apparently, they don't want to bring goods into the country, into the U.S. from countries that make these products from slave labor, which is understandable. But how am I supposed to know, right? Like, there's this company called Odengard, and they make carpets, and they're all over Manhattan, and they guarantee that all their carpets are handmade, but not made by children, if that makes any sense. And a lot of companies can't guarantee that. And that's the Odengard guarantee. But I'm sure when you get your batteries from wherever, there's no guarantee that, you know, how they were manufactured, which is a little bit of a bummer, you know. But I think it's kind of cool that, you know, companies in the U.S. is cracking down on it, because it's kind of messed up to have the kids, you know, they should be in school. But how are we as consumers supposed to know, right, how our goods are made, or even where they're made? But apparently the U.S. knows, and so it's a little bit of a bummer. We'll know when I start getting stuff again. So I guess I have to wait for Nike to reach out to me. Not even Nike, even Apple, all that stuff is made in China. I don't even know how the hell, you know, I don't know. All I know is that I'm not getting the stuff that's being sent to me. And it's not because I don't have a Tesla, because I tell them I don't have a Tesla. You know, it's the other stuff that I'm supposed to be receiving that I'm not getting, that's not making it through customs. A little bit of a bummer. That's okay. I have so many ideas for videos that I could just come up with a new one a week. So I'm not worried about that. But it was nice, you know, and it is nice when you do get collaboration offers. Because then you don't have to buy anything. And it's like they gift you. Like, we'll give you this in exchange for this. Do you want to trade? You know? Representation without taxation, right? All across the nation. Sweet. Love it. The matrix effect has the solder just melted. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get another one of these things. I was looking for the soldering iron holder. One more. Where did it go? I'll just use the spare one right here. Oops. Put this on like that. Twist the wire. The Mobula 8. I also have the flight controller to this, so we'll be able to see how it flies with the Beta Flight flight controller, and we'll also be able to see how it flies with the Mobula 8 flight controller. And they actually gave me the configurations for it, which is really cool. Just have to find them. They're on my computer somewhere, but it's in the email too, so they emailed me. That's it. One more motor to go. I gotta move this out of the way. I had to clear up some memory. I knew I would run out of space, but not as fast as I thought I would. And that's at a 256 gigabyte chip, memory chip. I do have 1 terabyte, but that's on my computer, but it's so slow. Like, you literally can't, doesn't work. It works, but the write speed is slow. When it writes to the drive, it doesn't really make any sense to have something so big that I actually got an SSD drive instead for that experience when editing video or just transferring data. All right. And then we'll go here. Voila. So we are pressed for time. These don't look like they're the same length, but they'll have to do. One is shorter. Sometimes that happens, but gonna have to move a little bit faster. Wow, ran out of space and all that other fun stuff that comes with it. Probably gonna take an hour to transfer all this video onto the drive. Look at that. That's my soldering iron. If it does that, it's more of a blowtorch, if you ask me, not a soldering iron. But thankfully, we're almost done. Again, you can cover it up like I did before for safety, just so that we know that we don't accidentally melt things or fuse them together. Move the soldering iron, the solder out of the way. You don't need the flame to be so hot. I think a heat gun ideally would be optimal in this situation, but this is all we, and remember, it doesn't have to be so close. Further away the better, because it's the heat. Okay, and if you could see it shrinky dink along the wires, you are golden. That's pretty much it for that. Shut it off. Again, I can't stress, keep it far away. If you have a carpet, put it in a pan. Okay, got some little bit of wire exposed there, but a little exposure can easily be fixed with this thing. Just make sure you cut it correctly. See? Voila. And if you're not happy with how you cut it, because it might be like on the flight controller, you can always what was I gonna say? Oh, put tape around it. Okay, if you're not happy with that experience, which I'll show you in case you're wondering, like, how do you put tape around it? Just cut a piece like this, really small, right? And then take your blade tool. We are 3 minutes in. It said I had an hour of record time left, which means I'm running out of memory. How much is this one? Doesn't say. It says 55 minutes though. This one tells you, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Usually you see it beforehand. So you see, get your blade out of the way and just take a piece of tape, this special tape though, the flight controller tape, and then just wrap it around. I cut it, as you saw. It's fine, but I'm just showing you what to do just in case. And sometimes this works better than the heat shrink, but you want to, see? Voila. But it's fine. All right, that's it for that one. Look at that. Kind of neat, huh? That's how long it needs to be, or needed to be, or has to be, or I want it to be. All right, now we're going to have to speed it up because, as you saw, we ran out of memory. And it took about 35 to 40 minutes just to do one. Don't let, even my computer fell asleep. I can unlock it with my finger. Finger food. All right. Knowing that, moving forward, I hate this part. We only get one take. We're going to try and see if we can beat the clock on this one. 5 minutes so far into the experience. I'm going to try and see if I can do it in under 20. Nah, I doubt it. I'm not that good. But I want to do it in under 30. Here's one. Remember, when you rush, that's where you mess up, okay? But thankfully, I know what I'm doing, so I can, as you see, I've messed up, and I'm able to fix it. So if you're good at fixing what you mess up, then kudos to you, because you just bought more time on the clock. If that makes any sense. Say you will. Just singing a Phil Collins song that was on my mind. Play with me, da, da. I like Phil Collins. He's aged. I saw him in his daughter doing Instagram. He's really aged. He's like soup sudia. But he's still got it. I wish I could turn the radio on. But you can't, because you will be demonetized. I wish they knew, people who were playing music in the background, right? Opposed to people who use the music. I do both, but I've done both, but I'm just careful now. If you hear music playing in my background, I research it. I YouTube research it and make sure that I'm allowed to have that song in my video, and then they'll either tell you yes or no, and your channel, that video could be monetized or demonetized depending on YouTube. These might be a little bit too long, but that's okay. I just need them to be a tad longer. Trying to beat the clock. You know what? Can't beat the clock. Gotta do it right. One at a time. Whoops. See what happens when you rush? It's alright, we can fix that. We can fix it because we're making it. See? Voila. Just pull that out. And about. I'm pretty sure someone must have made a kit for this. There has to be. Yeah, it's impossible to do 2 at a time for me. Temperature's at 378. Remember, I need for it to get to melting temp. See, I put it on like that. Not working because it needs to be hot. Move that there so that you guys can see. Still nothing. 536. Now it's melting. Sweet. See? Voila. Do that. Move my mouse out of the way. Don't need to burn that. Because I think that might be covered under Apple Care. What were you doing at the time your mouse melted? Oh, you don't want to know. I was doing a YouTube video. see. So this is good. I'm glad I didn't go live because you see the camera died, which would have been a bummer. It would have been a cliffhanger. You guys are like, wait, yo, bro, your camera died. And sometimes you don't check. It's hard to tell. What time is it anyway? Oh, nice. It's still early. It's only 5:11 p.m., which means I'll have time for part 2. Of course, part 2 will air a week or 2 from now, but at least I have time to do it. I wish I could do this full time. That would be so cool. That's everyone's dream, but it doesn't always work that way, you know? Doesn't always. But you do it when you can. That's it. You'll do it when you can. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Whoops. All right. One more. One and done. All right. Where's the other wire? It's gone. Somebody took it. No, I have it right here. Is that the last one? 1, 2. Yeah, where's the third one? I don't know. This is 1, 2. Ah, 3. I was like, wait, where did it go? That ever happened to you? Like, where are my parts? I'm like, no, is there one more motor to do? Are you kidding me? You're killing me, man. Nah, thank goodness, this is the last one. Like, you just lost count. Like, it's fun. It's fun and stressful at the same time. And the only stress I have from this is hoping to get it right the first take, because you saw in the beginning, you know, I'm sure if I did this every day, I'd be knocking them out. Like, but if I was on the assembly line, I'd be fired. Like, you, he not working. Yo, no, too fast, too slow. Go home. Yeah. Oh, nice. That one had the matrix effect. It just like went on. All right. Don't think it needs any more. Nice. It just like created that effect. All right. So now I need the heat shrink. Of course, I'm gonna cut them all true to size. Again, I'll leave a link to this in the description. Wish you could buy the ones you need separately. There's a little barcode thingy you can scan. All right, now for the easy part. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. And the best part is that my kids are not here. I mean, I miss them, but they're away. It's hard to do this during the day when they're here. They have off. They went to go to, oops, remember we want them to be the same size. They went to grandma's house for the weekend. And my wife went to, with her lady friends, ladies weekend, which is great. As you can see, this is the guys' night weekend. We're just hanging out, building drones. That's it. That's man's night out. Yep. We're having fun. Yeah, we're dressing it up. We're just going out. We're just having a blast. Wish I could have a drink, but you can't really do this while being intoxicated. You know, don't want to mess it up, especially when working with electricity, solder, right? Fire and things like that. Got to be safe. But I will celebrate after this. I will definitely have a glass of something. Whiskey. My favorite whiskey. Knob Creek. I like it. And some others, but Knob Creek seems to do it for me. What are you guys drinking? Da, 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 da. Ready to go. And there it is right there. Nice. I like when you can just pull it and it just threads along like that. See? One more. And that's this one. Almost there. Nice. Got it. All right, now I just gotta get the blowtorch. It's on. I hear it crackling. But, oh, there it goes. Whoa, I can feel that. Look at that. It's my soldering iron. Aye. Can you imagine using this back in the day? Not knowing how to solder and thinking that this was the best thing since sliced bread? Yeah, that was me. Yep. That's why this channel is called How to Buy Lube. Because we go from 0 to hero. And thankfully we have viewers and subscribers who actually chime in and tell us if we're doing it wrong. Nice. How many minutes is that? 16 minutes, half time. Remember, I got 45. No, I got an hour and something minutes left on there before the space runs out. That's why we're working under the clock, under the gun. This part goes like that. So we're going to strip these wires. And part 4, we are going to put this baby back together. But I'll have to transfer these 2 videos, which will take, I don't know, 2 hours. Just transferring them alone from the storage, internal storage, onto a the SSD drive. I got to make sure there's space there, or just choose one. I think I have one laying around that I can empty. Nice. That one might need a, yeah, it moved. See that? That one might need a little bit more. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can turn it on and it'll, see? Because it's so hot that it can create, and other times, not. This is why you can't rush, you know? When you rush, things go amiss. And you just gotta take your time. But even that's hard because we're excited. Like, I can't wait to see how this flies or blows up. Like, you can see here, I'll show you right here. See that? Yeah. And that wasn't rushing. That was just not knowing what I was doing the first time. And thanks to FPV Unknown, we were able to get the right parts that we needed so that we would not blow up a flight controller ever again. And so who knows, maybe he'll chime in on this video telling us what we can do so we don't do it ever again. And you need subscribers like that, you know, because I would never have known. Well, we're ready. This is our second build, so we know what not to do. But in this one, on our second build, we pretty much don't know what not to do with these wiring things, with how we're doing these connections to the motors. So, you know, you will not be offending me if you tell me I did it wrong or there's a better way to do it, because that's only going to help the channel and we'll make another video, you know? So I look forward to your comments and feedback on this video, because that's how you get better, you know? You can't level up like, or just, you know, you have to have a cringe moment if you want to be better at whatever it is that you're doing. that? Oh, I've been invited someplace. Eventbrite. Someone invited me. Sorry, I can't make it. I'm building a drone. Whatever happened to you, you get invited somewhere to a party or you have to go somewhere with your family and oops, good thing I didn't do that. I gotta put on the heat shrink and then you have to go, right? But you don't want to go, but you're gonna go. And then when you do go, all you can think about is this, what's happening right now. Like, wow, I can't wait to get back and solder everything together. Oh, I can't, you know, but good luck with that. Because by the time you get back, it's like dinner time, everyone needs to shower. Sometimes it's late, you know. And so like there have been some nights where I wanted to make a video, but I just went to bed, literally, because it was just too late. And you can't function earlier, and you know, on less sleep, I find, as you get older. Sweet. It just tinned. It had the Matrix effect when Neo touched the glass and everything just melted on his hand. Love it. All right, we're almost there. Now I can bring that one in like that. See? Voila. And then I'm going to do this one, the middle one. Hope I make it in time. I mean, 21 minutes, not bad. See, that's why I hate, it's either going to overheat or you're out of memory. And I have 256 gigabytes of memory. I should have made sure I purged everything that needed to be purged. If you know you're going to be soldering for a long time, this is probably the longest one. I think the next long one will probably be the transistor radio that we build. That one's going to be a long one. Make sure our heat shrink is on. Not that if you forget, remember you could use the special tape. But do not, like you saw in the beginning, the first one, double check the wires and don't heat shrink them until the end, because as you saw, sometimes it doesn't bind the way you expect it to. And if you do one at a time, sometimes the heat will accidentally melt the wire next to it. But if you know what you're doing, kudos, because you will know what you're doing and not have any trouble. Looks like we're almost there. I'm kind of rushing because I want to beat the clock, the memory clock, because I'm running out of space. Looks like we got it. Remember, I have to tin these though. It ain't over till it's over. There we go. 698. Wow, I was sleeping on a high temp. No sleeping. Sleeping at a high temp, but love it. Love that effect. Takes care of that. Our second drone build. Kind of neat, huh? Now, I'm just going to do these wires. Last one. Once they're tinned correctly, you're okay with like manhandling them. Just don't you know, pull them so hard where you strip them accidentally or take them apart. It's hard to take them apart once they're they are whatchamacallit, tinned together. That's not gonna happen. But it's hard. You could pull them apart accidentally. You got it to some extent. Remember, you want to leave some room for the wires to bend onto the flight controller, if that makes any sense. And we could put tape over it to cover it, protect it from the heat. Right. And we want to be able to bend it, and then hopefully, I wonder if it's still hot enough where it can light up. Nope. How many minutes? 26 minutes. We beat the clock. Sort of. There it is. There's our blowtorch. The next part, we'll put it together in part 4 and configure it. It does actually. It's already configured because it's flashed with the configuration from the beta flight configurations. This part's a little bit tricky. Got it. Oops, almost touched it. Whoops, and almost closed it so I couldn't put it down. That's it. Remember, keep that far away. It's hot. Can't stress that. Whoo. And unwrap it. So all the heat was applied to the tape. See? And left that unscathed. There it is. We got 4 motors ready to go onto the flight controller. Look at that. Just checking this one, making sure that it can bend into the flight controller. And this one too. Yep, because you got to leave that extra space at the tip. So, or if it's not there, then you can just cut it. This is good. It'll go in. 3, 4. Voila. Ay, ay, ay. You're killing me. That was fun. That's like working under the gun. And the pressure of either underperforming, underperforming, and just not doing it right, because you do only get one take, you know. But that's pretty much it. That's how you extend the wires to your motors so that they can fit onto the flight controller board if they're too short, like you saw. Or, you know, sometimes you can call the store and tell them you want motors with really long wires. Why these were so short, I don't know. But we got it going, and hopefully we can get it up and going in no time. Anyway, I hope this video helped you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below, or ideas for other videos. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.